Yeah, I mean, they did a great job with the track. I think it's probably the nicest repave I think that I've ever seen. Of course, there was definitely a lot of room for improvements. That's probably why it seems so nice. So it's really nice. A good job fixing inside and paving it, and with the safer barriers. And the track is really smooth. So it was I think a lot nicer than anybody expected it to be. So excited to be here. See what today brings, and go from there.
Okay, we'll open up for questions for Matt. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. State your name and affiliation. We'll start over here to the left with Jeff.
Hey, Matt, Jeff Ross, ESPN. Carl was in here yesterday and said that things looked and felt different to him, not just with the repaving, but just his visual points of reference. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it's a lot different, especially turn one. You know, the markers are still there to the right side, but before the track had so much character, I guess it had a lot of bumps and it had a lot of different visual cues to look at going in the corner, and it was easier to feel, you know, how far you could get in the corner, when you could get off the brakes, all that kind of stuff. Where turn one for me has been the hardest. The other two aren't too bad, but turn one is hard for me to figure out how fast to roll in there. You know, you kind of get in the brakes in about the same spot, but it's hard for me to visualize, you know, how fast you're going, if you can get off the brake earlier, if you're going to be going too fast and miss the bottom. So that corner's been a little tough for me to get used to, just because everything kind of looks the same.
Questions for Matt? Take one right here from Reed up front, and then we'll go to Mike.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Matt, a lot of guys are saying that they're running the fastest laps in the two test days after the tires have had a chance to cool down. That being the case, is there a chance that you might save a set of scuffs for the end of the race in case there's a short run?
I don't know about that so much. I think the track, as it gets warmed up and gets some cars run on it, after you run a few laps on the track, you know, new pave always goes a little quicker. Not necessarily, I think, the older tires, but as you burn fuel off and as you go back out and they're warm. So I don't think you'll see a lot of that. I think as soon as you got fuel to make it to the end, I don't think you're going to come to pit road again unless you're the last couple cars on the lead lap. And I think if you do need fuel and it's the end of the race and there's 10 laps left, you're not going to put tires on, because I think you'd be better off to leave the ones you have on. So I think you're going to see a lot of that, kind of like Clint touched on. You're going to see a lot of strategy. Just make sure you got the best track position you can and the most fuel that you can hold.
Okay, we'll take our next question right here from Mike.
Mike Mullen. I'm sorry if I might have missed this answer, but this is your contract year, I think, and not that you're leaving Jack or something like that, but sooner or later you have to sign something or other that says you could be there another 3 years or whatever it is. How's that going? Because I know we had a lot of issues last year with Carl.
Yeah, I mean, I've made it a habit of never talking about my contract in the media, and I'm going to try to keep it that way. And I never said it was my contract year. Other people might have said that, but I never said that in the media. Okay.
Brian, did you have a question in the back? We'll take it, Brian, then come back up to Jim.
Brian Nelson, Motor Racing Network, with a new track surface this week and next week as well at Michigan. And I know there as well they're talking about super high speeds. Do you have any concerns about either of these tracks and the speeds that we're seeing, the differences, and anything that crossed your mind that you might be concerned about?
Well, I mean, as far as this track, I don't have any more or less concern than I did, before they paved it. I mean, if you go off into turn one and blow a tire at 200 compared to 207 or whatever we're running now, I don't know that that's much of a difference. You're still going to hit something pretty hard. So other than that, I mean, it's not any harder to drive here. It's actually probably a little bit easier, just because it's not bumpy, and the line is pretty defined where you're going to run and all that. So Michigan, I mean, it's hard to say till you get all the tracks there. It's extremely fast. I mean, you're not concerned about it. It's not like it's harder to drive at 215 than it is at 200 or anything like that. But certainly, if something happens at the wrong place at your top speed or whatever, certainly, I don't know where the cars get upside down and all that kind of stuff when they spin out. I know they're doing the shark fin and some other things to make sure they stay on the ground, but there's not a problem if there's not a wreck.
Okay, we'll take our next question to the left with Jim, and then we'll come back over to Nate.
Jim Noble, ESPN. Robin Pemberton said that doesn't anticipate restrictor plates or anything, but are the speeds high enough where this is going to have a plate race feel at some portions? I mean, Denny talked about drafting, and the speeds you're carrying into turn one are so high. Is there going to be a little drafting, plate race type tactics out there at all?
Here?
Yes.
No, I mean, I think that, you draft because you'll close up on someone off the corner, but it's not like a draft like Daytona and Talladega where you're wide open and you're just trying to position yourself and you're getting pushed. It's nothing like that. You're not going to want anybody near you when you enter the corner here going that fast. So it's a lot different than that, but certainly the higher speed you have, the more, the drafter, you can suck up on somebody when you're behind them. Certainly there's more of that goes on.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Nate, then go to the back with Chuck.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Matt, you guys are like creatures of habit. You have these 3-day weekends that are the same every week, and this is kind of different with 5 straight days at a racetrack. I guess it might seem sort of silly, but what's that like? Are you expecting like cabin fever to set in by tomorrow? And what have you guys done to sort of, I guess, deal with 5 straight days? And is there any concern with having your team and crew guys kind of sequestered for so long in one area?
I'd be more concerned about my team if we were in Vegas for 5 days than Pocono. I don't know what they're going to do here, hike themselves to death. I'm not sure. So I'm not too worried about them guys. It's been all right being here. I mean, not a lot going on. I've enjoyed a couple days of testing. It's been fun to get on track and try some stuff we don't get to test at any places we really get to race. So I've enjoyed that. Ran through some different stuff, got used to the track. So it's been good. I mean, it feels like the start of a normal weekend. I mean, it's been all right. It's been nice to have a couple nights to just kind of relax, I guess.
Okay, we'll take our question in the back from Chuck.
Chuck Dibbler, Express Times. Carl mentioned yesterday some people were asking if he's concerned because he was so far down the speed charts, and he said that they were more working on testing and doing things, and they even said that when he would go by, he'd hide from seeing the crew chief see him. Were there people doing more of that than just trying to go out and really do a hot lap at every stop?
Well, I mean, you try to run hard so you can get good information, and there's probably some drivers and or teams that are more concerned about where they stack up in practice than others. I didn't really look at much. I mean, I looked at it at the end because most of the cars all in front of us there were doing qualifying runs at the end, so I was just curious how much they were going to pick up and trying to watch whether they're going to stickers and scuffs and stuff like that. But everybody's different. I didn't put a whole bunch of stock in practice speeds. We were just mainly trying to gather information, get a feel off stuff. Certainly you want to see if it runs, faster or slower than the other stuff you were running, but I wasn't overly concerned about where you rank. But you never want to be on the bottom if that's all you got and you don't think you can be better today.
Additional questions for Matt? All right, we'll take one up here from Scott.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times. Matt, with the 100 miles less, can you talk about maybe how you think strategy might play out, how things are going to shake out on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think the strategy is really going to be any different. I think track position is going to be really important here, like we talked about, especially with the new pavement. And you just start thinking about them last couple stops earlier because it happens sooner. But I don't think the strategy really changes. You're going to go out there and run hard every lap, try to keep the best position you can the whole race.